Okay, so this issue is I long ago, back in August 5th, 2017, I needed a holder for my hand phone to record videos. So I had some remnants of laser cut remains of some plywood, and I just kind of cut it up and made this glue and some crappy nails and made this thing that the phone would sit in like this, and then this old bit of hose clamp acted as a spring and held it, and then I could photograph with it. Kind of like this. Video, I could control it, and that was fine. Then I later changed phones, had a bigger screen in 2018, September 1st, and so I had to enlarge the whole aperture, make some room for the button, I guess, so on. It had other features, had a magnet here so that I could set it on the fence on the edge of my house, and it would stand straight against it in the location I needed to film from. These were double knotted, and this clamp always was trying to work itself off. The other thing was that the glue never held very well. It was just kind of nasty. These nails were nasty. The glue was nasty and never held, or maybe because it was not painted or finished, that stuff would soak into it and make it weak. I don't know. It's just kind of gross. You can see where I changed the width of the phone. But anyway, this thing it broke or got damaged recently, and then I really finished it off when a stone rolled across it. So it's time to build a new one. But this is what was replacing, and I salute it for its 17, 18, 19, 20, almost 5 years of service. I'll tear these nails out and put this back in the scrap wood box.
Okay, we're going to do this high speed because there's nothing that's so interesting that needs close detail. I'm using an old piece of birch plywood from my cat box, my 10-sided box projects. I'm using my nice Japanese right-handed metric square. I'm trying to make a piece of wood that's square. These have a beveled edge. Moving the beveled edge with my Japanese rasp, which works really nice. I'm just kind of eyeballing what to do. I think that's like 70 mm wide or something. This thing's able to cut pretty straight, and you can kind of correct it during course, so it worked all right. Japanese handsaw. Get these edges square. Just more of the same. Cutting out another section I can use. I was originally going to use my what you call it, the rotary saw. I'm glad I didn't. Doing it by hand was quicker than dragging stuff downstairs and cutting. All right. All right, so the main frame's sorted out. Get out the right angle clamps, which can be a bit finicky to set up, but mostly work okay. The wood's pretty flat, so it's not too bad. I'm using some random strange Japanese glue. I can't read the label, so I'm not. It's like a PVA. Not really sure. I think it was actually for leather, attaching non-leather to leather. Now the fun part, trying to stick these little brad nails in there without coming out the sides. It worked pretty well. I think I got all these in without any uh, coming out the sides. Now I need a piece to hold it against. Just using a weird angled piece right off the wood gives it an interesting look and works fine. Finding another podcast, I guess. Mark Maron interviews Quentin Tarantino, I think was what I was listening to. Okay, take the clamps off. It's glued up. Now time to mount that center holder piece thing. Figure out where the center of the phone needs to be located. I want the midpoint of the phone at the midpoint of that stand. This is kind of a mess to clamp up and figure out. Now what I'm doing here is I'm driving nails hole through to set the holes so that when uh, I know where all the holes are when I nail that center piece in. And even then, I'm still off by a bit and have to fuss with it. So there we go. The holes are indicated already because the holes exist. I think the first couple went in okay. Then on the long side, there was a slight bend to it. So you'll see me nailing like 4 times the same spot until I figure out that there's a bend. Yeah. Eventually I get it. Where'd you go? There we are, wiping off the glue. Now I just need to put little holder rails for the back side of the phone. Oh, I need to add some more nails, I guess. Anyway, that's how it's going to look. There's little holder rails, which happens to be the exact total length of wood that I need. Here I'm listening for music. Yeah. All right, those will be the rails. I gotta figure out find some brads to put in that'll hold the rails but not go out the other side. Mess around with that for a while. Look for a shim to give me a little bit of extra space between the phone and the rails because I'm gonna paint it and I want a tight fit, but I don't want a difficult fit. Pre-nail the things. There's a black shim, nail it down, it's fine. Get rid of the glue. Do the same thing for the long side rail. All right, and now clean it up, and it's kind of done from that perspective. Yep, it's all done. Now I want to paint it, but before that I make some labels for it. I I'm weeding out the vinyl labels I printed. I had a problem with Inkscape and the Roland Cut Studio Pro plugin, which prevented me from getting exactly the output I wanted, but I live with this, and I later solved the add-in problem. I've weeded it, now I'm putting on the backing tape so that I can peel the vinyl off the backing and apply it to the frame. I've already primered the base. I want the letters to be orange, so I'm gonna spray the front orange first. I'm using nice Molotow graffiti spray paint, super pigmented acrylic. I'm fumigating myself. And of course, I thought about spraying the other sides with the other color I was going to use, but I decided against it, I guess. I think I won't do anything here. Put some more orange down. Now I'm putting the label on, which is a pity because I put the label on incorrect. It's supposed to say 90 upright on either horizontal or vertical, but I rotated it by, again, 90 degrees. So what I did here is wrong. So those are that's the yellow vinyl masking, and it's incorrect. And I just realized that. So I've switched it since then and repainted with yellow. And now I'm going to try to remove the 90 vinyl stickers. I thought I needed a heat gun maybe to pry it off, but didn't really. I just yanked it off. There we go. 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Works quite well. The end. One final note. I where the 90 masks were, there's quite a step down from the yellow paint down to the orange level, which I didn't like. It was a bit of quite an edge. So I took some clear lacquer and sprayed a lot on there. And, typical impatient painting stupidity. One, I was already concerned because there was a lot of varnish or clear, whatever you want to call it, enamel varnish, and it made the center of the numbers look lighter, which I was already concerned with. That started fading and going back to normal, but it was still too soft. And I was using this phone or this holder for filming and managed to drive my thumb into the 90. There was still enough solvent embedded in the paints that the fingerprint went into the paint of the yellow paint and also slid the yellow paint kind of across the orange. So the nine's all distorted and it really can't be put back nicely. And typical painting mistake. Anyway, I just decided to leave it and think of it as a mark of wabi sabi and live with it because it doesn't really affect that much. And I certainly remember making the mistake. So there we go. The end.